Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a worth the buy or nah foundation review on a brand new foundation from a brand new brand that is Uoma Beauty. The very cool thing about that brand is that it is Black owned, so minorities, yes. I think it's so awesome. And another really cool thing is that they came out with 51 shades. So they have a color for everybody. They also make sure to kind of categorize every section. So they have 6 sections, like subsections of foundation, so you can kind of see exactly where you would stand. They have light, they have one for like tan skin, one for darker skin, and everything else in between. So you can kind of go straight to the section that you would think you would be in and then kind of select from there. So I think that's a really cool way to do things. Another cool fact is that Uoma stands for beautiful in the Nigerian language, so I thought that's really cool how they really incorporated a lot of the owner's culture into this. So the packaging looks like this, a very cute packaging. It's supposed to be a weightless, soft, matte, hydrating foundation with rose hybrid flower extracts specifically formulated for olive skin. And each category has specific active ingredients that work for that type of skin complexion. So that was another cool, very innovative thing that I really appreciated about it, is that it wasn't exactly the same formula for every foundation. Every foundation has a cool ingredient that is going to separate it from the rest of them. I think it's so cool when you see these up and coming brands do things in such a grand way. They made sure to just have something for everybody, and that's one of the biggest things right now in the industry, is making something for everybody. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get right into this review because I am so intrigued and I can't wait to test this out. So I'm just gonna be taking, for my primer, the First Aid Beauty Pores Be Gone Matte Primer with Fig Extract. And typically, I've mentioned this before, this is the primer that I like to use when I am having like skin issues or I need something more sensitive. It just works best for me, and it just does the trick. So we're gonna apply this all over, and we're gonna go ahead and open the foundation. I purchased this in the shade Honey Honey T2N, so it's more of in the neutral family. So it's supposed to be an adjustable coverage. For medium coverage, use sparsely. For full coverage, use generously. For extreme coverage, you can apply multiple layers. So I would say it's definitely a buildable foundation. Like I mentioned, it's supposed to be weightless, soft, matte, hydrating foundation, which I like. I like the fact that it has those hydrating factors, but it also kind of gives you a soft matte finish, so it doesn't get super oily, and it's also just very weightless. It's also dermatologist tested, and it's paraben free. It's D3, D4, and D5 free, talc free, cruelty free, and this is vegan. This was tested on 203 women. 99% of the people said that they found a perfect match, and 95 said that it's like a second skin lightweight feel, which is exactly what we're gonna be putting to the test today. So I'm gonna make sure I shake it. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and start off with this side right here, and we're gonna be using a sponge. I'm using the Morphe sponge. This is from the, I think, Jeffree Star collection that Morphe did with them. It's literally the same exact sponge as my red sponge, except it's pink, so yeah. And I'm gonna be taking the foundation, and this is what it looks like. It does feel very lightweight, and we're just gonna start applying the product on the skin. Yeah, it's definitely a buildable coverage. It feels very lightweight on the skin, and it's actually giving me a soft matte finish, which I appreciate because it doesn't look oily or like super radiant. I definitely think that if you have a lot of redness like I do, this is definitely a foundation that you're going to have to build up, like it says on the packaging, because it's not like a full coverage right away. I think color wise it's actually pretty good. I really want to make sure I get the cheek area covered because that's the area that obviously has the most intense redness. But we're going to give that area a break for a second, and I'm just going to go up here on my forehead where it's pretty evened out, and you can see that the product quickly disperses and blends out nicely. I'm excited to see how this will do with a brush. because usually for me, when I use a brush with a more buildable foundation, it tends to give me fuller coverage faster. I feel like it doesn't feel like I have product on the skin, even though I feel like I'm building it up. But you can definitely see that it is buildable. Now, if you have very evened out skin and you don't have a lot of like texture or like skin issues, you can get away with less product. Even though I am building it up quite a lot, I feel like it's not enhancing my texture as much as it could. So that's what it looks like covered on this side. In the areas where I've layered a little bit more, like this area right here, I'm patting very lightly, because if you pat too harshly, it can start to kind of make the product separate or come off with the sponge. This is definitely a product that you want to swatch in store. I wouldn't recommend buying it online because you may purchase the wrong color. But that's pretty much it with the sponge. It looks so good. I personally don't feel like it's enhancing too much of my texture. I feel like it did a pretty good job considering how much we did apply. And I'm gonna go in with my Morphe sponge. This is the JH03 brush. It's a nice kabuki brush. And you can see that there's gonna be a lot of redness that we need to cover. So I just went ahead and pumped 2 pumps of this. I love the consistency of this. You can feel that it's hydrating, but it's not hydrating where somebody that has oily skin is like, holy shiz, this is too hydrating. Like, I cannot. This is like just the right amount of hydration. And you can see I'm patting the product in. If I just go and like brush it downwards, it tends to just make everything go on streaky and make everything kind of separate and not look so pretty. So I like to pat it almost as if I was doing the patting motion of a beauty sponge, except with this, obviously it has the synthetic hairs, and then it also has no like spray on it. So I feel like everything goes on really nice and pigmented. And you can already see this side had a lot of redness, and I feel like it covered that redness immediately. So that's why I like to say pat it in and then gently disperse it outwards. Right now, just looking at the difference between me having it on with a sponge and a brush, I think that if you have scarring, or if you have hyperpigmentation, rosacea, uneven skin tone, and you're really trying to make everything look evened out, I personally would use a brush, and I would use the technique I'm showing you guys right now, which is the like patting motions, because I feel like with this technique, you saw how it covered so much faster, and I feel like it covering so much faster really allows the product to give you a full coverage appearance when you're trying to cover stuff. Now, this is how much product we have left over, so I think I'm gonna go in on this side once more and a little bit on the nose. It's almost like a velvety touch when I just am going past the product. It also has a very light scent. Now, it does have rose extract in here, which I'm kind of like, ooh, because I personally do not do good with like anything rose scented on my skin. Like, it tends to irritate, but right now I have no irritations. I still feel like this side looks more covered than this side, and we have this much product left. And to be honest, I don't want to use this product. I feel so like, saying that, because I like to use all my product up, but I feel like I just don't want it to start to feel thick. It doesn't feel thick whatsoever, but I feel like if I don't need it, why put it on? It's so little product, so it'll be okay. I'll just wash it away. As you can see, when you're wearing foundation, you have texture. Of course, you're going to be able to see the bumps a little bit, but it's not clinging to any of that, and it's not giving me dry patches in between my eyebrows. Typically, that's where I tend to have some dryness. Some foundations tend to like to cling onto that area, but this foundation is not doing that. It really does feel lightweight. Even though we built it up a lot on this side, my skin still feels good. Okay, it is a little bit sticky, I have to say. I hope the stickiness goes away, because I feel like during the hot seasons, I do not like to wear foundations that tend to be very sticky, because you go outside, it's hot, it's humid out there, and the last thing you want is for your face to start sweating and that stickiness to like feel yucky and it really feel like you have a lot of product on the skin. You want something that's just gonna feel good and airy. Some foundations, it tends to go away after 30 minutes, which is typically what we like to take to finish off the face. So I'll have to see that. If not, another technique you can do is go in with some setting powder and kind of set and pat those areas where it may feel really sticky so that you're able to really kind of get that stickiness to kind of not budge. But so far, I really like it and I feel like it looks fantastic with everything. I'm gonna go and finish the rest of my makeup, and then I'm gonna come back and give you guys my first impressions having this foundation on for a good 30 minutes with the rest of my products, and then we can go ahead and start our day and see if this foundation by Uoma Beauty is worth the buy or not. Hey guys, so I am back. Right now it is 11:11 a.m. Make a wish. I have a full face of makeup and I think I have some pretty good first impressions on this new foundation by Uoma Beauty. I'm really excited about this foundation because I feel like it works so beautifully with all my products, and I do have to say it completely set to that soft matte finish. I didn't set any of the other parts of the face because I felt like the foundation did a good job of keeping my skin nice and matte. It's almost like I'm wearing a translucent powder over my face, even though I'm not. As for the blush, everything went on well. Nothing was separating or breaking apart. It looks absolutely beautiful, and I'm a big fan of that. I feel like it just really gives my skin such a beautiful vibe, and even though we were working with a lot of redness and texture because of my rosacea, it covered it and it did it so beautifully without enhancing so much of my texture. Also, I did mention that this formula does have the rose hybrid flower extract, which is meant for the olive skin tones, and I haven't felt any type of irritation from it. It feels really nice on the skin, and it feels like it's going to do well for the rest of the day. And this one is supposed to last you for 12 months, so you have 12 months of great use out of this, which I think is more than enough time for you to really use it thoroughly, especially if you're somebody that just uses one foundation and you're looking for that one foundation that you can use for a whole year. This also does have standard size of 1 ounce, so that's great. I forgot to mention, but this does retail for $39, but this looks fantastico. So I really am liking, but like always, we have to see how this does for the rest of the day because it can look fantastic right now, but then it can look like shiz at the end of the day. So I will be doing a check-in probably around 3-ish. And then I will come back at the very end of the day and give you guys my final thoughts on this new Uoma Beauty foundation. Okay guys, so I am back right now. It is currently 9:28 p.m. at night, and I've worn this foundation for pretty much the entire day, and you can see what it looks like. We are definitely looking dewy, especially in the smile line area and up here in the forehead, so kind of like the T-zone area. But I definitely feel like for somebody that is very, very oily, you are going to get dewy through the day because you can see how this looks right now. For me as an oily skin person, it did hold up really well and nice and matte for probably about the first 5 to 6 hours of the day. You guys saw that definitely give you a nice soft matte finish, but right now it's definitely dewy. So if we take a sponge and kind of blot those oils, you can see that we can make them go away. Now it looks back to normal. We can kind of blot the nose a little bit and take care of that, and now it just looks perfect. Now for somebody that has dry skin, you also kind of have to be careful with this formula because it does definitely set into a matte finish. So if you have very dry skin, you're not going to like the fact that this is going to definitely dry down as a matte, and that may be way too drying for you. I think this foundation best is suited for people that have normal to combination skin. I think for combination skin, you will love the effects of it because it definitely gives you a nice soft matte finish for a good long period of the day without you having to do like too much of setting powder. But for somebody that has oily skin, I would definitely recommend using setting powder powder and baking the areas where you tend to get oily. I didn't do that today. I only did it on my under eyes, but definitely recommend that. So those are pretty much all my final thoughts. Would I say this is worth a buy? Honestly, I like the foundation, but I feel like for spring and summer, this is definitely not a foundation that I'm going to be wanting to use as an oily skin girl, because I will get very oily. This is definitely a foundation that I would probably use more so in the fall and winter when I want a really matte finish, and I know that will last a little bit longer because it's colder than now when it's like super warm, and there's no way that I can get away with that. I definitely recommend you at least checking this brand out at Ulta because it is minority owned, and we always have to support our minorities, and they have such amazing products. They have palettes, they have concealers, they have a lot of good stuff. So I would recommend, regardless of it getting really oily, I would say go check it out because you might find something that you really personally enjoy. Even though the ending of this was a little bit oily, I still want to check out the concealer because I did like the formula and how it went on the skin. I like the fact that it just felt on so good. So I will definitely keep you guys updated on the concealer. But like I mentioned, leave your opinions, thoughts, all of that fun stuff down below in the comment section because that's always fun for me to start a conversation with you guys. Best way for us to interact. Also, please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already. I would love for you to become a member family here on YouTube because I wouldn't want you guys to miss my videos for the world. Also, please don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you never miss a video because why would you? That being said, I'll be seeing you guys very, very soon for a brand new video. Bye, guys.